James Bay, thanks so much for hanging out with iHeartRadio Canada today. How are you, man?
I'm good, man. I'm all right. We've just had typical London, typical England. We just had like a torrential rainstorm, but it seems to have passed. And I'm talking to you, so it's all good.
Well, congrats on the upcoming release of Leap on July 8th. You must be super excited to get it out there in the world.
I am. I absolutely. You can hear some sort of apprehension. I think it's the same for every artist. I'm so excited, and of course, any release, I think definitely a full album is always sort of mildly terrifying as well, because attention spans in music are sort of faster than ever. My own as well. So like, it's a brilliant time, especially between me and my fans. And I always hope it'll reach even beyond those guys, and I'll make new fans with new album releases. But that's what makes it kind of scary too.
But this is your third time round, isn't it? So you must be like, I've got this now. I've done this. I've been there.
Yeah. I mean, again, like I try not to take anything for granted, but I suppose I feel very lucky that in even some ways it's sort of familiar territory. Yeah.
Has this one been in the locker for a while? Was this your lockdown project? Have you been ready to push this out, just waiting for the pandemic to finish?
It's been a funny old journey. I finished recording this album for the first time in March 2020. I actually got home from the studio. I was working in Nashville, Tennessee, and I got home. And on the 23rd of March, England went into all sorts of lockdown. I finished this thing first time round, right as everything was closing down. And I sort of sat there for a second, and we sort of held tight and felt like, well, maybe it can come out a bit later in the year. Then all of 2020 passed by, and then all of 2021. For me and my guys, like before the world had sort of got back to a sort of state where it felt good and right to sort of release it, because I typically want and need to release music and then run around the world with my guitar under my arm, meeting everybody, playing live with people in the room. So we're finally back to a time where I can do that, and artists can do that more easily. I spent the rest of 2020, the end of 2020 and most of 2021 writing more songs, which ended up finding their way onto an album that I thought was finished. So it's been a crazy ride and a sort of strange road for making this album, but I'm finally there.
And you've worked and collaborated with some pretty big names on this one. One comes to mind purely just because I'm a massive fan, is Finneas. How did that relationship begin?
It was fascinating, really, and he's such a brilliant artist in his own right, but of course a huge producer for himself and his sister Billie Eilish and many other artists. I suppose it's the beauty of the music industry sometimes is how close everybody can kind of seem or be to each other, and like you're only ever a few people away from this person or that person. One of my guys at my record label is very close to his manager, I believe, and I had a song which was just a voice note on my phone. That's the only recording I had of it, and I was looking at who could produce the song or how it could get produced. And my A&R guy, Ben, he had a hunch that Finneas might be a great idea. And then it's just like you kind of hit and hope. So he sent it to his guy who decided to play it to Finneas. And then I had a call from Finneas because he'd heard the song. He said to me, I really love the song. When I first ever went to the Grammys, which was I think 2016, I was in town for a couple of weeks either side of the night. I was playing like different shows, and there was like a couple shows, and Finneas was telling me, he said you did this show where you were talking, doing an interview, and then you play songs in between, and there was like an audience, it was like a Q&A. He said, I was in the audience for that show. I said, no way. He said, yeah, I'm like a fan of your music. I said, whoa. I didn't really know what to say at that point because we'd just been talking away, getting on about music and about this new song. So it was very fun to sort of find that out and to just to get to collaborate with him because I'm a fan, he's really fantastic. So yeah, that was all after the pandemic had well and truly begun. Like lockdown was pulling us away from each other, keeping us away from each other. But it was bringing us close as well. We were connected on Zoom or however it may be over the phone, and one thing led to another, and suddenly Finneas is producing one of the songs on my new album.
You mentioned a pretty big award show there. Is that something that's in the back of your mind? Perhaps one of the biggest in the Grammys. When you're writing songs and going through the process, is that in your mind? You're like, I could hear them liking this, or
I have no. You can't predict how the Grammys or whoever will sort of want to attach themselves to your songs. Sometimes I let my sort of dreams run away, thinking maybe this could be at one of those big award shows one day. That's about as far as I try and let it go.
I love the song One Life. The music video just recently dropped, and I have to touch on the fact that it's very intimate and very you. It's very opening the curtain, like peeling back the curtain on your life a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, there are different degrees to which I have typically been okay with doing that kind of thing in the past. You know, my private life is very important to me, but this just felt okay. You know, I'd never found a way to write about such a positive part of my private life and feel just sort of good about it as a song. It's sort of difficult. I've always found it difficult to sort of do it, but this just hit in the right way. And it feels like a wonderful sort of celebration of 15 years that me and Lucy have been together. We were very much sort of kids from the same hometown. We met there, and not long after, we were sort of pretty tight knit. One Life is really, like I say, a sort of celebration of that journey so far and where we're up to today, and hopefully sort of where we're going. I'm still kind of surprised, if I'm honest, that I've gone as far as sort of releasing the song and everything. But like I've said to you already, like, it just feels good and right, and I have to follow that instinct. You always do in music, and it's been really wonderful to do that.
Did it take a lot of convincing from you for you know, to get Lucy involved, or to kind of tell your story as it is?
So we're pretty aligned on all these types of things, and it was kind of almost the other way around. I think she'll listen and she'll talk to me about whether she thinks this, that, whatever connects with her, what doesn't. She's great with that. Once in a while, maybe once in a blue moon, she will listen to a song of mine and love it first listen, and love it second listen, and love it third listen. One Life is one of those songs. So all the good signs, all the right signs were there when I played her that song. Usually if I'm excited enough, then I've kind of got the courage to just press play. But I did talk to her about, you know, the intimacy and the sort of privacy around the sort of the subject matter of the song. And she was like, it's just a great song, get it out there.
Yeah, well, at least she listens, mate. I'm on the radio every night. My girlfriend doesn't listen to a thing.
Oh, mate. I'm sure don't lose faith. I'm sure she's turning it up now and again.
Joe, it's actually quite a good thing sometimes, because there's some things I talk about that I'd actually rather she didn't hear.
I get you. That can be, you know, I maybe I don't play Lucy every single song. Sometimes it's like, nah, no one needs to hear that.
Nice one. Well, James Bay, thanks so much for hanging out with iHeartRadio Canada today. We congratulate you on the upcoming release of the album Leap on July 8th. You've got some tour dates coming up as well across the US, back home as well.
Yeah, I do.
Good luck with everything.
Yeah, thanks so much, man. I think I'm coming to Toronto at some point as well. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah. Yes, we look forward to that. We can't wait. James, thanks so much. All the best with the album. Take care.